You're not listening! This isn't about me! This is about the thousands of people murdered and the countless other lives destroyed! Why is above the law? Why does never pay for his crimes? Where is it when people are trying to put their world back together?
Okay, buddy, we hear you. So, what do you want?
What do I want? I want the truth! I want justice! I want...
Black Ops 7 is yet another Call of Duty game that does not care about the zombies fans. After the failure of Black Ops 4, Treyarch lost Jason Blundell and had a 2-year gap between their next game, Cold War. Well, kind of. See, there was obviously the DLC cycle in 2019 for Black Ops 4, and then the pandemic hit, which probably made game development hell, especially with all the crazy shit going on at Activision, which I have unironically seen people defend. Yeah, just lock these people up. But when Cold War did release, most people were having fun with zombies, myself included, especially considering we were starving for zombies content. But there was one mistake, and it all happened because of a game mode I truly despise to this day because of what it did to zombies. Warzone. Warzone was a battle royale made to compete with Fortnite, the same way Blackout was made in Black Ops 4. And because of the pandemic and battle royale still being very popular as a mode, Warzone took off and was loved by so many players, seeing highs that COD hasn't seen in years. Ever since this obsession that COD has had with Fortnite, trying to copy it and become the next Fortnite, they've sacrificed everything that made Call of Duty. And there is no other mode in this game that has felt the Warzone-ification more than Call of Duty Zombies. Because Warzone performed so well, the monkey-brained greedy fucks at Activision looked at how big Warzone was and decided to push its mechanics into zombies. Now, what is their plan in doing this? This is done so the modes can feel all more united and so Warzone players can come to zombies and feel familiar with it. Which doesn't sound that bad at first until you realize what it sacrificed during this process. First of all, there's gun rarities, which are one of my most hated mechanics in modern zombies. It just takes all the value, I think, of hitting the box because, you know, guns don't feel powerful unless they're gold. You want your guns to be gold, and that's all that really matters. Doesn't matter what gun you have. If it's gold, it's good. If it's below that, well, you might as well not use it. The armor system, which I just can't understand a reason why armor plates have to be in zombies. It just doesn't make any sense. We had the shield for a while, and that worked. I'm fine with no shield. I just don't see a purpose of having armor, especially when, again, it just feels like they're only doing this just so you can be like, oh, this is also in Warzone. And something else that's in Warzone is the loadouts. Loadouts, the fact you can spawn in with any gun you want it's just ridiculous, right? Sure, it's a gray rarity, like I said earlier, but there's no reason to ever start with a pistol anymore. Like, you're just going to start with an AR, and then you're just going to use your salvage and max it out. That's what you're going to do almost every game that you play. Then there's Outbreak, which was definitely a mode of all time. And when they had some success from Outbreak, you know, of course they had to run with it in Vanguard, which is just... and MWZ. We're not going to talk about that, though. Field upgrades, which are more of an MP thing, but I just don't think they belong in zombies. Unlike Specialist worked in something like Black Ops 3 because you had to actually do a quest to acquire them, not just spawn in with them. Score streaks, which just... get them out of there. Only having operators and not having a playable crew. We can't even get a decent lobby screen anymore, and the Warzone HUD including a minimap and a fucking compass, which is just so funny to me because I have to understand what could possibly be the purpose of a compass in zombies. Now, the minimap, while I still don't like it and turn it off immediately, at least there is some actual value to it, like, you know, seeing where perk machines are, and you can mark things so your teammates can see what you're talking about. But what is the actual purpose of a compass? Is someone gonna die because they couldn't call out which direction the zombie was coming from? But maybe one of the worst things that didn't come directly from Warzone but definitely had an influence on it, and the reason I am making this video today, is the boss spams of specifically Black Ops 6. Now, you may be asking yourself, how is boss spam in zombies Warzone's fault? That sounds more like Treyarch being lazy and reusing enemies over and over, but no, there is another reason for it, which just clicked for me today as I was watching FaZe Jev playing the Black Ops 7 zombies in the beta. Take a listen.
5,000 wasn't my fault. I imagine I'll probably end up doing the entire camo grind on this little ass map unless the big one, for whatever reason, is like the one that's needed. See, on BO6 though, it was a little weird because we had 2 different main maps and certain special zombies wouldn't spawn for that camo grind. So you would have to go and play the other map in order to get the right special spawns. I really hope that's not the case again.
Did you hear that? This is the reason right here why boss spam even exists in zombies. I never did the camo grind for zombies, so I would have never thought of this. But the reason for boss spam and having 8 different bosses returning from previous maps, like amalgams being on every map in Black Ops 6, is so that people who come to zombies for the camo grind can have an easier time and don't have to play multiple maps. No, that would be too taxing. Just too difficult to play multiple maps and learn them. We have to coddle the Warzone and multiplayer players for zombies. They have to play zombies, and it has to be just like it, or they won't like it. This is the same reason why Liberty Falls was played so much, and Treyarch were proud to announce that Liberty Falls was the most played zombies map of all time. Probably knowing exactly why the map did so well, even though, Terminus is right there and is clearly a better map. Everyone just played Liberty Falls for the camo grind. Like, it's so obvious, and realistically, anybody who's played Black Ops 6 knows that's the truth. I just think that this is so important for the zombies community to see, especially in the FaZe Jev clip, and no hate towards him or any of the MP Warzone community, because this is not between, Warzone and zombies players. That's definitely not the case. It's more about Call of Duty and Activision as a whole. They are the ones making these decisions, which realistically I don't think Warzone players are that stupid, I think like Activision has this thing where, oh yes, Warzone players have armor, so we must incorporate that into zombies because Warzone players will see armor and be like, oh, I have to play this. But if any of you are Warzone players or multiplayer players watching this, which I don't know exactly why you're here, but anyways, if you are those players, I think you could sit there, play Warzone, and then go to zombies, realize the game is different, and have a separation between the two, and be able to enjoy it the same way. I don't think Warzone players or MP players are really going into zombies being like, man, I really wish it had armor. Man, it sucks there's no armor. Wow. I have this gun, but I have no idea how good it is. There's no rarities. My eyes, I can only tell if a gun's good through rarities. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't think Warzone players are that stupid. It's just like, come on, like, let's be so for real here. It's just this weird obsession that Activision and just Treyarch have where they feel like you have to combine all the game modes to be exactly the same, when what made zombies so great was just how different it was from the rest of Call of Duty. I mean, think about it. We had a campaign, which is usually taking place in some type of war with, militaries or in different countries, right? That's the whole point. Campaign is supposed to be like a more grounded experience. And then you have multiplayer, which is literally just like a 6v6 game mode where you just like shoot and kill people. And then Warzone is a battle royale. Like, those are very different modes. But then zombies was always the thing where zombies is this kind of mysterious mode. Nothing's given to you right away. You start with basically nothing, pretty much in most games starting with a pistol and having to work your way up, buying perks, getting better guns, pack-a-punching, right? That's how zombies was. It was always this mode that was so different from the rest of the game. Zombies was never supposed to be exactly like multiplayer. Exactly. It's just so stupid. And another thing I have to bring up on this is the fact that the story for zombies, I'm not gonna lie, I've never really been a big fan of the zombie story, but I'm a big zombies fan. But I think we can all agree here that deciding to have the zombies universe be canon in the campaign multiplayer Warzone universe just doesn't make any sense. Like, why? Like, actually, what is the purpose of having them all together? Because it's probably not too bad for people in campaign. They probably don't care too much about it, but it just hurts zombies players because you have to be so limited when you write. Like, imagine writing The Walking Dead, but Breaking Bad is happening at the same time as The Walking Dead, and The Walking Dead is only in Georgia, but Breaking Bad and Walter White is still taking place out in New Mexico. It would just like ruin the whole immersion in the world building. Like, the whole point of zombies is the world is taken over by zombies. Like that, I'm getting on a side tangent, but the point is that combining these game modes is just stupid. It doesn't work for what exactly zombies is supposed to be and what it always was. For some reason, Call of Duty just focuses parts of zombies towards these multiplayer and Warzone players, and it just doesn't make any sense to me realistically when like someone like FaZe Jev is only going to play zombies, as he said, for the camo grind, and then will never touch it again. The game should be catered to zombies players, the people who play the game all year. And I feel like most people in most studios would realize, maybe we should cater to our actual fan base and not, another fan base that we're trying to bring into ours. Regardless, Call of Duty will always be connected through its modes, you know, like multiplayer campaign zombies will always exist together. As much as I would like a zombie standalone game, that realistically would just never happen because Call of Duty wants to get more sales, and they know they'll get more sales if they have zombies in the mode. But what I just don't think makes any sense either is just having these games all together but not allowing them to diverge in any way. These modes should be allowed to be different from each other. If they're not different, then what's the point? Why not just make zombies, multiplayer, Warzone all the same mode? Why not just put zombies in Warzone? Which they actually have done, by the way. So in the past few weeks, we've seen a lot, and I mean a lot of information about Black Ops 7 Zombies, and as you know, there was a beta this year featuring zombies for the first time ever, which is something I always kind of wanted in a beta. But after seeing all the information and playing Black Ops 7 Zombies, I can confirm that it feels just like Black Ops 6 DLC with updated graphics and new guns. Now, I like how the game feels, and I think the skybox and atmosphere of the Dark Ether in general is just really good, and I think Ashes of the Damned and any future maps that come out after it, then the game could actually be way better than Black Ops 6, just like how Black Ops 6 is just way better than Cold War. The main upgrade we are getting out of Black Ops 7 is the maps look more like how zombies used to look. I mean, the launch map is literally a transit-inspired map. What I dislike, and I feel a lot of you would agree on, is how Black Ops 7 is literally the same game mechanically, with a few changes here and there, despite the feedback from the community for over the past 5 years. And technically, we go back even further to Black Ops 4, where things like the perk system and point system was changed, but for the last 5 years, a large majority of the zombies community said the same thing collectively. Some of these things I mentioned earlier, like the point system, weapon rarities, armor, the HUD, all of these things have just been issues zombies fans have had since the new era of modern zombies has started. And you would think that in Black Ops 6, these things would have been changed, but no, they didn't. And then Black Ops 7 comes out, and once again, they just did not make any of these changes, except for maybe the HUD, as there have been leaks of customizable HUD, specifically two that are Black Ops 3's HUD and a Dark Ether inspired HUD, which is cool, but why did something as small as a HUD take so long to get out of the game? Like, I promise you, I know very little about game development, but from what I do know, a HUD is not something that would take years to make. It would maybe take a few weeks, and most of that time would be coming up with creative ways to how the HUD could, you know, get some personality. I just don't understand how it takes this long for them to respond to one complaint, especially with something as small as a HUD. It just seems to me that no matter how many times we complain about these features we don't like, for whatever reason, Treyarch refuses to listen and just is stuck on keeping modern mechanics the way they are. Now, I don't know, maybe Activision is not allowing Treyarch to make these changes because the Warzone and MP players seem to be playing zombies more now because it's not as difficult. I really don't know what goes on behind the scenes, but what I do know is that year 5 of modern zombies and throughout these 5 years, we have had time after time asked for change, but it feels like reporting to the police that you're being stalked by a man outside your house, and you keep asking them to help you and do something about it, but they never do anything about it. Maybe they'll have a cop drive down the road a few times, but of course, nothing will come out of that. And as you want all of this to end, the stalker eventually gets to you, and before you know it, you were killed as another one of his victims because nothing was done. That is exactly why a lot of people are done with zombies by this point, and some people have left sooner than others. But the point is, Treyarch is killing zombies due to them catering to Warzone and MP players more than their actual fan base of zombies players who actually enjoy the mode and have been here for years. The same community that gave them the best-selling DLC of all time on PlayStation, Zombie Chronicles. Like, I just can't understand the logic of, let's just not listen to the zombies community when, you know, the zombies community is the people who play the mode. It's such a basic concept. It's like if the NBA added a rule where players were actually allowed to start taking steroids in order to perform better, but then instead of talking to the NBA fans to see if they like that, they go and talk to the NFL fans. They go see what the NFL fans are like. Oh, the NFL said that it's okay, so we must do it too. Now, I obviously know the NFL doesn't allow steroids, but that's not my point is that it's just ridiculous. Like, why are you looking towards another game mode? Just the same way, like, it's another sport. Like, sure, it's similar, but it's not the same at all. Before I end off this video, I do want to say, I do have some hope for Black Ops 7, because as I mentioned before, it's pretty much just Black Ops 6, and I thought Black Ops 6 was pretty decent. It's like a 6-7 out of 10 for me. And with things like Curse Mode actually having some good potential if done right, it could be the best zombies game we've had in years. My fear with Curse Mode is just that I don't think it will be exactly what we think it is. Now, if Curse Mode can literally just be classic zombies in terms of its mechanics, then it would be exactly what we've been asking for. And I would love that. I'm excited for Curse Mode, but I'm just very skeptical of the mode, because out of anything from the Black Ops 7 trailers and blogs, the thing we know least about is Curse Mode, which is a little strange to me. Now, I'm not saying we need it in the beta, but I just need to know more before I'm sure or not if Cursed will be what it sounds like it will be. Especially when, again, we've seen so much information for Black Ops 7 so far. Like, we know almost everything about, like, the entire mode. The only thing we don't really know is Ashes of the Damned. We don't know too much about that map. And we know, like, what it looks like because we've seen so much of it, but we don't know exactly, like, how it's gonna play. We don't know that kind of stuff. The only thing we don't know right now is about Curse mode, which is just very worrying for me. I mean, I guess there is some type of that old Zombies mystery there because they haven't, you know, told us and everything, but I have this fear that the reason we haven't seen too much about Curse isn't because they want to build mystery, but no, instead it's just that they think if they show it off, people won't like it, and then, you know, they won't buy the game. Also, in my last video about Black Ops 7, I mentioned how I thought it was a good thing how Cursed was a reward from doing the Easter egg in Standard first, but then after reading some comments and thinking about it a lot more, I think I was wrong. First of all, this isolates players who really only play zombies for the high rounds and don't really care for Easter eggs. And another thing I thought of is just how Curse mode most likely will have to be earned separately for each map. So if you unlock Curse mode on Ashes of the Damned, then you probably won't have Curse mode for the next map that comes out in Season 1, meaning you're forced to play Standard again to do the Easter egg just so you could get Cursed again. Locking the mode behind the Easter egg will also make it so the game mode is played way less than Standard, just because that's how that works. The free things offered are obviously going to have more people on it than the mode that is to be earned. There is a chance that Curse mode is unlocked after playing one game of Standard, and honestly, I hope they do that. So, shout out Legend Gamer Boy, what a name, for bringing that to my attention. Anyways, I'm excited for Black Ops 7. I just hate feeling like the zombies community is not being heard, especially since we have stuck through all these shit games year after year. It depends what you think of about Call of Duty Zombies, but I think a lot of players would say where their first big problems with zombies was Black Ops 4. Black Ops 4, it just changed so much to the point where it wasn't even the same game. But as much as I will hate on Black Ops 4, I don't want to get it twisted. Black Ops 4 is miles better than Cold War. You know, it's not even close. The point I'm making though is just we've had problems with this game mode, especially with these new like modern mechanics that were introduced in Black Ops 4 and mostly in Cold War, and we just have not seen the changes reverted, which I just don't understand. It's not like I'm against change. Change is fine. I think some of the changes in modern mechanics are actually good. Like, I actually think augments are a very interesting idea, and I've had a lot of fun with them. My only problem I would say with them right now is just that I feel like they're kind of basic. Like, you're only gonna choose like the same one every time. Everyone's gonna probably choose the same things. For example, like, you know, Jug. Like, am I gonna choose that I take less damage with armor plates, or am I gonna choose that I get an extra 50 health? Like, that's a whole extra hit. I mean, I guess depending on the round, but you know, that's a whole nother discussion. But anyways, guys, if you enjoyed this video, shout out at you. And we need you on Verdansk, brother.
Come join us in Verdansk. We miss you. We need you.